Welcome back. So, to finish off our Friday, let's just do some quick news updates. Dermott has re signed a year with the Toronto Maple Leafs for $874,000. And there was some interesting math on how Janssen and Kapanen are gone, and all of the players that Kyle Dubas has signed for less money than he was paying for Janssen and Kapanen. And yes, I think he deserves a lot of credit. Do I think that Dubas will get a lot of credit? It, again, depends on who you ask and which fans you ask, and it comes back to the good GM, bad GM video I did recently. It's the same idea. Anybody who thinks that Dubas doesn't know what he's doing are still going to think that, and for others, they're going to say, see, this is what the plan was. So we'll see how things go for the Leafs. And when will we see that? Well, there's no news from the GM meetings on that. The 2020-2021 season, how it's going to look. Apparently they had a 2-hour GM meeting, and there's no news on that from the GM meeting. But of course, the union and the league have to sit down and iron that out. And of course, there's talk about the Canadian division and how the American divisions would work, and how all of this is going to work. And you can point to the NFL. The thing is, the NFL, as long as it seems like as long as the teams are following the guidelines, they're okay. It seems to be when teams are outside of guidelines that things kind of get hazy. And with baseball's about to, award a World Series winner. So it can be done. I would say a shortened schedule. I would say a 48-game schedule. I'll do another video on that at some point soon on how I think a schedule could work. How to make it so that it's as safe as possible, decrease the travel as much as possible, which is a challenge if you're going to have all the Canadian teams in the same division, because it's not like Canadian cities are all tightly bunched together. So that's going to get interesting. Detroit apparently raising their voice a little bit at the meeting about the, which means Yzerman, about dropping to fourth at the lottery. And there's still tremendous debate about how the draft lottery works, how it should work. And I'm not sure that the NHL is of the mind to change it. I could see a situation where the NHL makes it, okay, the worst placed team in the league is guaranteed no worse than second. But we will do draft lotteries up to number 4 then. The draft lottery is a winner for them ratings-wise and in terms of intrigue. So they don't want to just flush that away. And so there may be some sort of a change. Detroit may very well be arguing change for the next team that's in that position. Detroit came out of it okay with Raymond. I think that's going to be a good pickup for them, but we'll see. And so, one GM apparently tabled the idea of bringing back the negotiating period before free agent frenzy. So the free agent frenzy this year, the idea was not having any sort of pre-negotiations would reveal this amazing first day. And it did, considering the flat cap and considering everything that's going on. But they're saying maybe if we had a 48-hour period instead of 72 hours, maybe it would yield better results. But of course, personally for me, I like the surprise aspect of it. So I'm in favor of there not being talks with free agents before the day of free agency. If it wasn't for the flat cap, if it wasn't for what we're going through, we would have had a fantastic free agent day. And yes, it was kind of a dud compared to previous years because of what's going on. But it's 2020. Everything has to be a dud in 2020. Everything. Even ice cream is probably a dud in 2020. I say that because I don't really bother with ice cream anymore. It doesn't really work when you're trying to keep weight off and you're doing your treadmill every day. And then, I think I'll add ice cream. That just totally defeats the purpose of trying to stay in shape. Nikita Nestorov, remember him? I remember him. I remember liking him. I thought he was a decent bottom 2 defenseman. Played in Tampa, played in Montreal. Now he's a Calgary Flame. He signs a 1-year, $700,000 agreement. No risk contract. No risk contract for the Flames. Decent depth defenseman, I think, but we'll see what Flames fans think when he gets into the lineup. I know he didn't impress a lot of people his last season in the NHL, but again, I think he's a decent bottom 2 option, and we'll see how things go for him with the Flames. Now, the reason I'm wearing a Minnesota jersey, the future signed today. Marco Rossi has signed his entry-level contract, and we'll get an idea of just how good Rossi is going to be very, very soon here. So Rossi signs his entry-level contract. Does he play this year with Minnesota? Does he not? Do we have hockey this year? Do we not? A lot of questions out there yet to be answered, and I'll be here to answer them when they happen. Last thing I want to cover, I talked about the 2021 draft, and we're going to get a lot of coverage of this soon. Owen Power is listed at number 1 on the ESPN list that they released today. So ESPN has him listed at number 1 on the draft list. And we'll start seeing draft lists once we reach the end of October and going through. And of course, that's going to be influenced greatly by the fact that there's a lot of junior leagues that haven't started yet. And there's some junior leagues that we're not sure how they're going to look and what's going to happen. And so next year's draft is going to be interesting. Regardless of what happens, it's going to be an interesting draft because there's going to be prospects who are getting drafted who may not have played very much or any hockey over the last 12 months at the time they're drafted. That's intrigue, boys and girls. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.